Welcome, low ego action heroes and phoenixes. I'm Debbie Levitt from dcx, and welcome to episode 284, where we're going to talk about PRDs, product requirements documents, and how I believe that they need to evolve. I think that PRDs basically came from business analysts' requirements documents, and I think we can do a lot better. So I am here to talk about my idea for what we could do instead. This is a piece removed from my Atomic Product Market Fit book that I took out for length, but you can find it in my Medium article, and today I'm going to show you a little bit more, and I welcome your questions on it. And as usual, since this is one of my models and templates and ideas, use it as a starting point. If there's things about it you don't like, or there's things you think that are missing, or things you think that'll work better for your team, feel free to adjust it how you like. So we are going to start with my article about this, and then I'm going to show you the template. If you are joining us on the audio only podcast, hello. I will read out some links for you to follow. You'll be able to get to the article link and the template in the podcast notes. So let's first talk about product requirements documents and why I think they need to evolve. Okay, PRDs, product requirements documents, claim to be a roadmap to product success. Hi, Ana Lucia. But too often, product requirements documents are inflexible, lack collaboration, suggest solutions before we understand problems, and don't shift with our changing knowledge on what users need, expect, or demand. PRDs need to evolve from being close to old school business analyst requirements documents into more collaborative and strategic living documents. They should document strategy, tactics, risks, desired outcomes, metrics, and more. This is a team effort on a team project, so the PRD becomes a team document. Everybody on the cross-functional team would contribute to the new and improved document that I am recommending. I think that PRDs, as they are now, can be problematic. And by the way, if you're not familiar with product requirements documents, you can certainly research online. You can see examples of them. You can see articles about them. I didn't invent product requirements documents. You can see what they're like now and what I'm trying to improve. So whether they're created by humans or AI, since there are lots of AIs claiming they'll write your PRD for you, there are still problems with these documents, including that they tend to be assumption heavy. PRDs often begin with predetermined solutions rather than problem statements or solution agnostic opportunities. They're not collaborative. It's usually written by one product manager without much or any input from UX engineering or from excellent research. And in the old days, we used to see business analyst requirement documents also written not collaboratively. PRDs tend to be solution first, what to build before fully understanding why to build it or if it solves real problems well. Feature lists masquerading as strategy. PRDs tend to be shopping lists of functionality without strong connections to real user needs or outcomes. Vague success metrics. Increase engagement without defining what engagement means or why it matters. Metrics rarely measure user success the way users would define success. Business focused. Documents intended to create products, services, and experiences for users end up mostly about business needs, goals, and metrics. Static documents. Written once, treated as the Bible of the project, and rarely updated. And then on the screen, I did an online search for, these are search results for PRD template. And if you put that into any search you like, you're going to see there are zillions of templates. But to me, we need more than a fresh template or a different layout or a splash of color. I really want to rethink and improve these product requirements documents. So I'm calling my new version the PSD, a product, service, and experience strategy document. And I like to call PSE products, services, and experiences. It's everything your company offers, sells, maintains, etc. Most companies offer more than digital products. You might have non-digital products, services, and experiences, such as those with sales or support reps. These are all part of our PSE strategy. So again, PSE is products, services, and experiences. And my strategy document should be a shared collaborative document and a shared collaborative understanding of our project and its strategy. So here are some of the key differences between a traditional PRD, product requirements document, and my PSD, PSE strategy document, and then I'll link you to the template. And I'm happy to take questions from anybody watching live, or you can always drop a question in if you're watching later on YouTube. Number 1, living documentation versus static specifications. PRDs often assume that requirements are correct and all we need before design or development begins. But in the atomic product market fit process, my book is coming in, 2 weeks. In the atomic product market fit process, we test and refine solutions with users, narrowing down to the best execution of the best idea. Excellent research produces evidence and insights throughout the process. As our knowledge changes, our requirements would have to change with it, evolve as we learn. This matches how agility requires that you welcome changing requirements and shift as you learn. Number 2 difference, user outcomes over feature lists. Product requirements documents traditionally emphasize feature specifications and technical requirements. Atomic PMF focuses on users' realities, tasks, and desired outcomes so we can fit the PSE to the market. Hello, PSE market fit. How about we do that for a change? So avoiding starting with what we want to build, avoid, that's my imperative to you, avoid starting with what we want to build, including reverse engineering, guessing, or assuming users' needs or use cases. Work from evidence, data, and knowledge, especially from qualitative research. Research and knowledge before requirements where possible. Sure, sometimes we need to document legal, compliance, security, and other non-functional requirements early in our process. But product requirements documents often begin with assumed solutions, features, or stakeholders and executive requests or demands. Our evolved product strategy document starts with a deep user understanding before defining solutions. Your company might still start with execs demanding certain features, but it would be great if those were still solution agnostic. We don't know exactly how this will look or work. We're open to possible solutions. Even in situations like this, where the general feature might still come first, we can still follow the atomic PMF process, which you'll learn about next week, and or use the product strategy document. And we'll add feature specs and tech requirements later once our design and testing show that we have a great solution. The solution is broken into features. Lots more about this in my book. A lot of these pieces don't totally make sense in a vacuum because it was pulled out of the book, but it will make sense in context later. Number 3 difference, cross-functional collaboration versus handoffs. The product requirements documents mostly grew out of the requirements documents that business analysts used to make. At companies without BAs, a PM might create a requirements doc. A shared product strategy doc allows each domain, UX, product, engineering, etc., to shine and collaborate. Shift away from formal doc handoffs between partners. The project is a team effort, and your key strategy document should be a team effort as well. So, product requirements documents become PSE strategy documents. Our BA requirements document which became our product requirements document, can now be our PSE strategy document. The key areas this document covers include executive summary, requirements and constraints, Phase 1 understanding, Phase 2 strategy, Phase 2 planning, Phase 3 potential solutions, Phase 4 testing and evaluation. These are part of the Atomic PMF process I'll be talking about in the book. Atomic PMF, go-to-market strategy, tech or engineering roadmap or plans, risk register, decision log, and doc change log. And again, I might update this as I go. That's why I wanted it in an article with a link to a document versus in my book, because then if it's in my book, it's harder to change later. So this may evolve over time. Note that some of these sections might be fully written right into the document. Some might be links to where people can find the information. For example, the changelog might be a separate document, but we can link to it from here so that everyone can find it. This document is the single source of truth for the project. And you can find my template at atomicpmf.com/PSD. So P for product, S for strategy, D for document, all lowercase. And I just created a Google Doc with a starter template for the doc. I'll show it in a moment. And again, feel free to adjust it how you need. So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to move away from product requirement documents that dictate exact solutions, leaving teams no room to find problems or solve problems. I'm trying to get away from one person claiming to own and control most or all of the process. This is teamwork for a team. We are a self-managing team. Nobody is captain of the team. Nobody is the dictator. Domain-specific decisions are made by the experts in that domain. UX makes UX decisions, just like engineering makes engineering decisions. Team decisions that cut across domains should be made together. I'm also trying to get away from each domain having disconnected documents that nobody else can find or that aren't updated and evolving as the project changes. This PSD can be, for example, on a Confluence page linked from a Jira ticket. It could be a Google Doc linked to a linear ticket. Make sure the product strategy document is in a format that all of the team can contribute to. Because our projects are rarely linear or on time, things change. We learn something new. Priorities shift. Our documentation should include all of that. Anybody finding this document later should understand exactly what was and was not done, what was decided and why, etc. Let's say that in the middle of the project, a stakeholder puts the project on hold and says another project is more important. Put that in the decision log. Put the date and the specifics. Let's say that research shows that our first design idea, our design or our idea really won't work for users, and we decide to spend 2 more weeks on the project. The research should be in this document, or at least linked from the document, and the decision to extend the deadline should be documented. Let's say that we learned that people hate a lot of things about our current features, but execs don't want us spending time on that. Execs want some color and layout changes. That can be documented in the decision area as well as the risk register. What are the risks when we knowingly don't fix problems or don't make our PSE better? There are risks in our customers' eyes, and there are risks for the business. Document those. So try it. Atomic PMF is a model and a process designed to reduce failures, increase success rates, and achieve business goals through customer satisfaction. Evolving our documentation and collaboration is a part of that. The PSD is a longer document than traditional PRDs, but its collaborative nature offsets this. More people will contribute to the document. So reduce expensive pivots, prevent feature bloat, and ensure that teams build solutions users actually want. Try the PSD or make your own variation. So before I flip over to show you the document, we've got some comments from Ana Lucia, who said, I worked as a BA. Well, not my official title, but I had varying responsibilities depending on what the team needed that day. It was tiring, but anyway, and I can tell you, I had many fights between stakeholders because of those documents. Doctors wanted one thing, technicians wanted another thing. We had so many issues with that. Only doctors were listened to, and then technicians were frustrated when those decisions made them slower and inefficient. Yeah, all kinds of things we could document. Ana Lucia continues and says, it's not like what the doctors asked for was the only way to do things. The technicians were the ones doing the bulk of the work, and they had a bunch of workarounds that weren't exactly by the books. Not scientifically wrong, just efficiency workarounds. So I had to do a ton of meetings to reach a compromise between all of them. I wish everybody had been listened to. Unfortunately, BAs only have to listen to the higher-ups in the chain. If the higher-ups say this is how it's done, then that's it. The requirements are what they want them to be. Yeah, and again, some of our biggest problems here are not necessarily the documentation. It's the ways of working. If you have bad processes, bad people, etc., okay, we can try a new document, but that may or may not help us. So I'm hoping that the document will bring some improvements to people and get them refocused on other things. But, you know, this is the least of my new book. I'm very excited about my Atomic Product Market Fit book. I'm still reviewing it and making some changes to it, but we are going to be here next Tuesday to preview it. It's going to be a special stream where I'm going to read you some parts of it and show you more of it. And then about a week and a half after that will be the live book launch stream. So we've got lots of cool things coming. And then, of course, the book club in March, where I'm going to live stream voice act it for the audiobook. You can join that live. Okay, so we're looking now at the Google Doc, and someone else is looking at it with me. Hello, anonymous duck, probably Ana Lucia. And again, this is a very long document, and you are welcome to adjust it for your team and how you work. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter, you can combine things that I broke out separately, you can reorder things, add things. It's up to you. I'm just trying to give people a fresh starting point and a document that everyone can contribute to, because I know at places where I've worked, it just seems like the product, the PRD is for PMs only, and if UX has something they want to add to it, you can't. If engineering has something they want in there, you can't. This is just for the PMs, and I think that's not, I think we can do better when we think about teamwork. So the sections here are the PSC strategy document, of course, some main information about who's on the team, communications and collaborators. So are there other people we need to keep informed about different things? Some people use the RACI matrix to decide who's going to be informed and things like that. Let's have an executive summary for the people who don't want to read through the whole thing to let them understand what initiative this document relates to. We're going to have requirements and constraints. No matter what research shows us, no matter what solutions we try out, there are just going to be constraints for the project. So let's find ways to list them here. Legal and compliance, security and privacy, localization and internationalization, which could be language and culture and other things, policies and regulations, and I've just left an other here for whatever else you might want to put. But again, put whatever is relevant for you, take out what isn't. In the Atomic PMF book, we explore a 4-phase process for the Atomic PMF process, and phase 1 is understanding. This is going to be our discovery or generative research to give us some good foundations for our project. So we might have a knowledge quadrant, we might have our research plan here, even if we're linking to it rather than dropping the whole research plan here, probably linking to it. Some of the key research insights, and we would probably link to our research report as well, so that, again, this is the sole source of truth. If there is a document that exists, we link to it from here. We want everybody to be able to find everything they need. Experience ecosystem dimensions are explained in the book. This is basically everything we want to learn in generative and discovery research. So we're probably not going to put all of those insights and suggestions here, but we might link to certain maps or video clips or our report or fresh personas or typologies or something else. So those can be here. Then we're going to write problem statements, as the book explains in, I think, chapter 13. We'll be writing problem statements based on what we learned in research so that our team can then decide which problem statements do we want to address first. We might also be doing competitive research. What's going on in the competitive landscape? Is there something that our competitors are doing that we want to keep an eye on? Maybe there are things we think that they do well. Maybe we think they don't do it well. And so this is not about copying them. This is just about being aware of them, that there are other players in the market and they are taking a certain approach to solve these problems, and how we might be different or how we might be similar. Phase 2 in the atomic PMF process is strategy and planning. This differentiates the process from a lot of other ones, because in many ways my process is similar to the scientific method, to human-centered design, to user-centered design. I don't claim to have reinvented the wheel here, but I noticed that nearly zero processes and methods and frameworks ask you to stop and create a really thoughtful strategy. So in chapter 14, which is probably one of my favorite chapters in the book, we go through how to build a strategy now that you've done that research and you have some foundational knowledge. So this book is much more practical and tactical than my other books, with getting in there and doing stuff. So we are going to write our strategy. We are going to talk about how our initiative supports business goals to make sure we're focused on that. We've got our core strategy, and this matches the format for strategy that I use in the book. But again, that's a starting point. You might want to make changes to it. How about success criteria? We have some KPIs. You might have additional success criteria that you're looking for related to this project. How about some failure criteria? How will we know if or when we are messing this up? Does anybody have to approve this stuff? Next, we're going to do planning. So now that we've done our research and we understand things, we've written problem statements and we see which problems we're going to solve. Now we want to start to do planning and estimation, which again, the book walks you through as well. But this document would be a place to track all of this stuff, from roadmaps and milestones to deadlines to budget to maybe you have a Gantt chart. Maybe you have other ways of doing your project management. Phase 3 of Atomic PMF is potential solutions. This is going to be where we are solving, brainstorming, designing, interaction designing, service designing, prototyping or modeling experiences. So this is going to be where we capture all of the work that's being done here. Phase 4 is testing and evaluation. So now that we have a prototype, a model, a sample experience, or a service design prototype, we are going to test it. And we might do multiple rounds of testing as we learn stuff. So we're going to want to document that here so that everybody knows what's going on and what came of it. And then we're going to look back at the Atomic PMF model, which we'll talk about on Tuesday, but it talks about product market fit, or PSE market fit, coming in 3 levels: macro, meso, and micro. So as we design and solve and test and evaluate our potential ideas and designs and solutions, we want to make sure that they solve the original problem well and that we solve them at all 3 atomic levels. Now, once we have a solution, we can break it into features. We don't necessarily know the feature before we have the solution. We can claim we want a certain feature. We can say, let people upload contracts into the system. Okay, but that's not an exact solution. That is a very general idea, and we're going to have to design the solution, test it, make sure it's good, and that's probably going to be broken into features for the purposes of whoever implements this, whether this is engineering or something that has to be manufactured in a factory or done with other operations or logistics. So depends what it is. The book is written for both digital stuff and tech and apps and things like that, but also physical products. I have a whole example running through the whole book of shipping pharmaceuticals. I have a whole example running through the book of buying an e-bike. So we talk not just about digital stuff in the book, we talk about services and physical products as well. Now we want to look at our go-to-market strategy, which the book doesn't cover because the book is covering mostly do we understand the problem space and people, and are we creating the right solutions for them? The go-to-market strategy still needs to be considered and documented, but it's outside of the book, but still something we should be including. And then, of course, we're going to need everything related to tech or engineering, or if it's a physical product, it might be something related to manufacturing or logistics. So again, you might update this document based on what's right for how you do things. Because again, you might not be an engineering focused company. You might be more manufacturing or logistics or services. And then, of course, a risk register, always my favorite. We've got to make sure that we are noting any risks that we find, especially as we start moving through the project. Is there anything that is going to slow us down, make this project worse, make it likely that it's going to fail in small or large ways? Are there bad actors that could be involved? Are we hackable? So make sure you are not just documenting the risks, but taking steps to make sure someone is going to fix this. And of course, a place to log decisions and any change logs. So again, it's a very long document and it covers a lot of things, but the idea is that it's a starting point for you or your team to have a better living document that is for more people, that is truly for the team. Everybody can get involved in this, from operations to product management to project management to CX and UX and marketing and sales and go-to-market and other strategic people. I would love to see everybody collaborating on this and have one document somewhere in your corporate documentation, which could be Confluence or something else, where anybody can come in and look at this and learn anything they want about this project, whatever it is. It would be that single source of truth, and it would be something people are updating. It can link to Jira tickets. It can link to research reports. It can link to designs, whether those designs are vibe coded or in Figma or Axure or whatever you're using. The tools don't matter. It's just that place where I don't ever want to hear anybody say again, well, I don't know where the UX designs are, so whatever. I'm not even going to look at them. No, everybody be aware of them, or I don't know what marketing is going to do about that. Why not? Get that in there. Get that in the go-to-market strategy. Well, I'm not sure what our competitors are doing. Someone check. Someone do that research. Get it in the document. So I really want to see people coming together more as a team, working together more as a team, and having that document able to change with us. Because as that project goes on, stuff's going to change. We're going to learn stuff. We're going to find out things we thought worked didn't work. We're going to find out things we weren't sure about did work. And we're going to have to shift and evolve as we go. And that's part of what being agile is about. And it's why it's called agile, because you are supposed to be nimble and ready to change as you learn more stuff. So that is the product strategy document, or the PSE strategy document, so that we've got products, services, and experiences in there. If you have any other questions, let me know. While I wait to see if anybody has any other questions, I'm just going to remind people of some upcoming shows. Tomorrow is the Ask Me Anything show that we do every Wednesday. I think Dr. Nick is joining us, but I will have to end it a little early because I have another call back to back. After that, I'm hoping for a Friday karaoke stream, so maybe I'll see you there and sing some songs for you. Tuesday, I'm going to be premiering a preview of the book. I will not have the proof in time. So maybe Pier Mario will join us and hold up the proof on the show if he gets it, because I will be out of town, but I will broadcast from my remote location. And I'm going to open up my Word doc and I'm going to show you some of what's in the book and why I'm so excited about it and why it's a lot of fresh content from me. I would say 90 to 95% of it is totally fresh and most of you have never seen it before. So I am excited. Wednesday, I will try to do an Ask Me Anything from my remote location / mini vacation. If for some reason we don't get to that, you'll forgive me, but I'll try to do that. And then we've got Tuesday, the 24th of February. We're doing a special Take Action Tuesday with Larry Marine. And Larry and I are going to talk about something that's in the book. And it's about how AI transformations are really service design. AI transformation isn't just a technology implementation or a tech transformation. AI transformations are service design. And we're going to talk about that and how you can hire us to do that, and also some stories Larry has from how he's already been doing this. Wednesday, February 25th will, of course, be Ask Me Anything, since it is a Wednesday. And then Thursday, February 26th will be a special extra Thursday show because it will be the book launch party. And I'm endlessly excited about that, and can't wait for everybody to start buying it and reading it. I've got a few beta readers reading it right now, and they love it. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so since we don't have any other questions right now, I will wrap up our stream. Thanks to people who are watching it live. Thanks to people watching it later on YouTube. And of course, everybody joining on the audio-only versions on the podcast platforms, where you can find Delta CX Hive as an audio-only platform for some of our Tuesday shows. Ana Lucia says, wait, I'm typing. Okay, we're going to wait for Ana Lucia, and then we'll look at wrapping up. So I promise I will wait. I can't play hold music because then I would get in trouble for content strikes on copy strikes on YouTube. So no hold music. Meanwhile, I will remind everybody that we have a free Discord community. We have a free Patreon. We are here for you. We've got a great community and a supportive community, and I really hope people will join because it's free. And thanks to Ana Lucia today in the community for giving me an idea to take some of the stuff I've been doing recently and put it up as a course. I think that would be good because I did the how to use AI in research on our channel, and it was probably the most watched video of last year. And then when I did it a few weeks ago for UX Tweak, I think they had almost 1,000 RSVPs. So this is a hot topic, and so thanks to Ana Lucia for inspiring me to expand on it and make it an interesting course. Ana Lucia says, imagine the following situation. You're involved in a project where there's software being currently used, but it's legacy, old, and not receiving updates. The project is trying to get them to update the software to a newer version or another software entirely. How do you deal with that? Because you would have old PRDs and older stakeholders not wanting to move on from that. Changing what works is tough. Let me ask you, Ana Lucia, if you mean whether you're trying to take people and move them to a different software product away from something they're using now, or whether you are the software company and the project is to rebuild or reinvent or heavily change your software and get people to adopt the changed software or something else. I think I need more context. But what would you do with old PRDs and stakeholders who don't want to move on from that? Look, people are very set in their ways. They love to say they're agile. They love to say they're experimental and innovative, and then they love to not change at all. And so sometimes you have to kind of nudge them a little bit and say, we're supposed to be agile. We're supposed to shift and change, especially as we learn things. Sometimes you just can't change people no matter what. You know, it's you didn't break it and you can't fix it, but we can certainly always try. So I think I would have to see what is the project and what is the nature of the project to probably answer that better than I currently am. So let's see what Ana Lucia says. Yeah, it's I'm trying to keep thinking about what you're saying. The project is to get them to update the software to a newer version or another software entirely. And it really depends. Sometimes companies are going to deprecate or shut down the old software, and you have to try to move the customers to something new. Sometimes you have a version of the software that they call KTLO, which is keep the lights on, which means the software, the old legacy software still exists and it runs, but it's no longer getting updates. And that means it's not supported. It's never going to do anything new or better. And some of the older customers who really don't want to change just keep using it. If you want to get people off of really old legacy software, you very often have to help them with migration, make that inexpensive, make it a one-click tool, make sure their data is moved, certainly before it's erased. Ana Lucia says, in this case, the software was really old, and I mean it, like from the 90s. The company had new software they wanted to sell to the clients. The clients were so used to the old software and the old requirements, they didn't want anything different. And that's interesting, and it also brings up a good question about research, because if you have customers who really just want to use the old software and they don't want to move to newer software, should you still build newer software? You could. Who's it for? Maybe we shouldn't have expectations that the old clients will move. Maybe we stop allowing new customers to get the old system. All new customers must get the new system, but old customers can stay on the old system if they want, but it's going to be KTLO. The lights will be on, but nobody's home, and we're not supporting this, and we're not fixing it, and if it's broken, that's too bad, and it's not going to do anything new, and stop asking us to make it do new things because it doesn't. So it's really up to you. This is really, that's really a migration strategy, and I often recommend that people run some research studies, at least one, to try to understand the legacy customers. How many do we have left? What do they cost us? What money do we make from them? Is it worth trying to push them to something they seem to not want? Do we want to run the risk of losing them? Maybe we think that we're not going to lose them because they're never going to leave. But migration to me is always a much more complex issue, and it goes well beyond a product requirements document. It's really going to be really a behavioral set of behavioral research to try to figure out what should we do with the legacy people, if anything. Like I used Todoist, not sponsored, and they sent me an email a few months ago saying they were coming out with a new version, but they were going to raise the price, and that if I didn't want the new version and I didn't want to pay more, I could stay in the old version, but they're not going to update it anymore. It's going to be KTLO. I can continue paying a much lower price, but the product will be frozen where it is now. They're not going to support it. They're not going to update it. They're not going to add to it. It's never going to do anything new. And that if I ever do want Todoist to do more things, or I want the newer version, I will have to move into the new product at the higher price. And I thought that was very fair. And I decided I would rather pay less because the new features were not interesting to me, and the new price was almost double what I'm paying now. So my thought was, I'll just take the old price and I'll stay where I am. But chances are they're not going to allow new customers to get the old product at the old price. Chances are all the new people will be put in the new product at the new price. So this is the type of question that a lot of companies face when it comes to migrations and new systems and things like that. Ana Lucia says, the old software had its good things. I honestly think so, but it had massive issues. If they needed newer features or modern things, it simply wasn't possible. They wanted the old software and the old requirements. That's it. I don't think they understood that the kind of programming involved simply doesn't allow better things. It's hard to try to balance that. Yeah, and ultimately that is what you have to communicate to your customers, that if you are happy with the way this works now, our company will allow you to keep using it, but it's not going to get better. It's not going to be fixed. It's not going to be added to, and we'll keep the lights on and you can use it. But if you want something better, faster, newer, updated, evolving, etc., you're going to have to use our new system with our new pricing. So that's usually the approach that people take, but it's usually something that we research. It's usually something that happens in baby steps and phases. Sometimes people are allowed to try the new system first and then go back if they're not happy with it. It's a much more complicated issue than any product strategy documents. So I will wrap up for today. Thank you for watching. Thanks to Ana Lucia for your questions and comments, and to a few other people who I saw were watching quietly. And imagine this in the healthcare industry. Yeah, it's tough, it's weird, and we're stuck with it anyway. But hey, I will see everybody tomorrow for the Ask Me Anything with Dr. Nick, and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thanks.